Hello again. I'm not necessarily back to do any demos with foveated rendering, but I did encounter a bug that I was investigating and I just want to show it here. I'm going to let this rotate around. I'm going to get rid of all the other light sources except one. Slow it down a bit. There. So if you notice here, if you're watching this video in 1080p, you'll see these dots where there's no light. And I realize that only happens when I'm using noise. So if I get rid of noise to get rid of the scaling, it gets rid of those dots, but the scaling comes back. But something even more interesting happens if I switch to foveated rendering. You notice how the dots are only appearing where I'm rendering the full scene. The next smaller circle out is where I'm rendering 3 out of every 4 pixels, then half of them, then a quarter of them, then an eighth, and then a 16th. And in fact, when I reassemble the scene, which is what this is, the dots are still only appearing in the full render. So I thought, well, how can I resolve this? Why? Not even sure why that's there. It seems to have something to do with how the rendering engine is trying to, I don't know, maybe it's trying to do something to smoothly render adjacent fragments. I have no idea. So the fact that they're not showing up when I'm not rendering every adjacent pixel gave me an idea. What if I were to do a lightshaft render where in that lightshaft render, I'm discarding 1 out of every 4 pixels. And if I do that, I get this. Now all of the artifacting dots are gone. And if I do a second render on lightshaft to fill in the 4th pixel, I get my result back and these dots are gone. But there's a problem with that. Let's turn off VSync. And you see that I'm getting 160 frames per second currently. But if I turn off this fix, I'm getting 270. So when I'm doing 3 out of every 4 pixels, that's 1 pass. And when I do the second pass to render 1 out of every 4 to fill it in, it's treating it as if I'm running lightshafts twice. So it seems the better option then would be for me to render 3 out of every 4 pixels in lightshafts in an offside buffer, and then run a pass on that to reassemble the 4th pixel just by collecting surrounding colors and filling them in, and then applying that result back to the main scene. I'm not going to demonstrate that here, but it's just a discovery that I've made, and this is happening in OpenGL rendering. I don't know if this happens in DirectX, but I just found that to be very interesting. If you're getting this kind of artifacting, it might be because you're sampling every fragment. If you only sample every 3 out of every 4 fragments, you can get rid of those dots, but you can't do another pass to fill in the remaining 4th, otherwise it's as costly as doing lightshafts twice. So render 3 out of every 4 to a side buffer, run a pass to fill in the 4th pixel, and then apply the result back to your main scene. If anyone has any advice, any other kind of advice for me to get past this artifacting here, I'd appreciate it. But I just thought that was interesting, and I just wanted to share my findings. Thanks, and I will see you in the next video.